What? Go! Go! Move! Why can't I move? Why am I? Okay, well, that was weird. Oh, my flaming sword in the water, cool. The great part of Odyssey 2 is they bring back Black Flag boat elements, which they didn't have in Origins. I mean, they sort of had it with Aya's sections, but it was kind of janky and weird, and there was only like a few of them during the course of the story. So they're brought back properly in Odyssey in that case, and not just, you know, a few levels here and there. In that case, that's cool. I'd love to get some more gameplay like that, especially considering, you know, Skull and Bones is probably never releasing at this point, and when it does release, it's probably going to be an unfinished mess considering the development hell that game's been in. Okay, so yeah, properly then. So, you know, some of the best modern version of that we'll ever see because of, you know, what happened to Skull and Bones, essentially. Wait, so what is this? This is, oh. Okay, it's just the treasure thing over there. I gotcha. I gotcha. Whee! And then, look how nice this looks. Oh, apart from the dead bodies. But man, damn graphics though. Again, it'd be a lot more pleasant without the dead bodies, but you know. Okay, and not even any top of the water glitching out that time. Sweet. Yeah, let's keep on moving. Keep on venturing around here. Man, if Skull and Bones comes out and is actually like a proper fleshed out game, it'll be a Christmas miracle. Skull and Bones, yep, development hell, but you had high hopes, you think you'd still play it? Like, I'll play it and cover it on my channel for the sake of, you know, covering it and stuff. But, you know, it's definitely not a game that I'm playing expecting to be good, you know. Sometimes that happens with games around here where I play them, you know, fully expecting them to not be great. Like any modern Roller Coaster Tycoon game. Modern Pokemon like Scarlet and Violet, and oh, look how nice this looks! It's so nice! But play them anyway for the sake of showcasing them, suffering with them, finding out what happened with them. If I didn't have this channel, I don't know whether I'd pick up Skull and Bones or not. I'd probably wait to see if it actually was good. Is what I'd do. And if by some miracle it was, you know, then I'd probably, pick it up. But otherwise not. It sounds like a game very confused about what it wanted to be during development, and they kept on, you know, changing things. Come on. Come on. Okay, cool. Well, there's that. Hey, Scarlet, you enjoyed it, but OG FPS equals 5. I'm currently working on the Scarlet Violet video essay. It's, well, it's already over 2 hours long, and I don't even think I'm halfway done. So, that's cool there. Yeah, I think Arceus was the better game. I think both games really, really lack quality, though. But I guess that's what happens when you try to rush out 2 games in the same year from the same studio that they refuse to expand the staff on, because they worry that it hurts communication. And it's cheaper. You know. But yeah, so biggest project around here lately that's been stressing me out has been the Scarlet Violet video essay and how long that's taking. Because, yeah, is kind of crazy. But my humble opinion on that is in terms of open world games, like as an open world game, like no other aspect, just purely as an open world game, I think it's probably the worst open world game I've ever played. Because Pokemon naturally is a linear system. Like, it's turn-based, level-based. You start out in the first area with your starter Pokemon at level 5, you go to, like, the first route, you fight the Pokemon trainers there, you level up, you become a little bit stronger, you move on to the next area that's a little bit tougher, level up, become stronger, so on. It's a naturally linear system. The thing about action games like Assassin's Creed, like Breath of the Wild, like Elden Ring, is you can tackle things early if you want, and they'll always be possible. It might be stupidly hard if you do things out of order, but it'll always be possible by nature of it being an action game. But a turn-based game like Pokemon, if you do something majorly out of order, there's a good chance it just won't be possible. Which begs the question of, like, what's the point of it being open world then? You know, why'd they do it? Which I believe is honestly just to capitalize on the current craze after Breath of the Wild of everyone being like open world good, linearity bad, rather than treating it like each of them have their pros and cons, and some things better apply to certain types of games than others. And a turn-based, level-based game like Pokemon, it does not really apply all that well to. And a lot of people were saying like, oh, open world means that by doing things out of order, you can challenge yourself. You actually get a Pokemon game with difficulty. And it's like, easier solution, just implement difficulty modes. Or if you want a Pokemon game with challenge, just play something like Coliseum. I've been playing that recently, and it's like, wow, this is actually a kind of difficult Pokemon game. It's been kind of interesting to play through that. But yeah, it's just such a weird mess of a game, honestly. But yeah, I can't wait to watch that. Last essays are awesome. I appreciate the kind words there. Yeah, I hope to you know, get it done and be able to move on with my life, because I've been working on it for the past several months already. That's a lot of smoke there. It's hard to see. Pew pew. There we go. And then we go this way. 100% agree. Yep, you were super gated in Pokemon doing gyms and other items like the beast challenges where you get your mount power-ups. Want to do something that were way higher level, no way you could beat that in any order. Yeah, like I don't think I ever tackled anything that I couldn't do at that point. Oh my goodness. There were some that were pretty sketchy, and I was challenging myself at some points. Oh, wait, there's a thing I have to do here. So, you know, Pokemon could do from having like some better challenge and exploration, but that's fire. But I don't think Pokemon open world is naturally the way to go. Unless you introduce something like level scaling, you introduce like difficulty modes to get difficulty that way. I might have to retry this. What? Like playing this on the hardest difficulty right now, being surrounded by all these guys. It's like, who am I attacking right now? Why'd I just attack that wall? Where am I going? Oh, screw this guy in particular, I guess. Anyway, in such a dire situation like this, it's like, holy crap, this is insanely tough, but it's still possible. You know, it's an action game where my outcome is determined by skill first and level second. So it's possible. I don't think I'm making it through this though, but it is possible if I was actually an amazing gamer. You know, was the case. But yeah, I would have, so in the chapter that I have dedicated to open world, the way that I write is like, the way that I would have fixed this is introduce both level scaling and difficulty modes. And thirdly, also the Xenoblade Chronicles level down system that lets you level down your party if you want. That stores it as bonus experience. You can reassign those levels at any time. That lets you, you know, tailor the difficulty to your own preferred level there. You can make it as easy or difficult as you want, essentially. That was something really cool about the Xenoblade trilogy on the Switch, having that level down feature. Okay, is everyone marked? But yeah. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors can introduce only so much skill. Yeah, turn-based games where it's just like, yeah, input a move and see what happens. Only so much can happen. Like another game that we've been playing that's a turn-based, level-based thingamabob is Fire Emblem Engage that recently came out. Had that game gone open world, I would have also been like, why? That does not work for this. It's a naturally linear thing. I would have been really mad if Fire Emblem went open world. Like, unless it did something like level scaling and difficulty modes and stuff. You know, like it just doesn't make sense for it. Yeah, would have been really cool to see. If they had level scaling, difficulty modes, and leveling down, then Pokemon would probably work pretty well as open world. But the problem is they took a completely linear system, slapped it onto open world, and called it a day. We're like, yeah, let's hope it works. So that's honestly the biggest issue that I have with Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, I have working on a whole video essay. I'm gonna have a lot of things to talk about, but that's the biggest issue of mine. Is the thing. Ow! It's always so funny when they die by the fire, especially in the middle of an action. That is the biggest gripe right there. Hi. Oh, crap. Aha! But, you know, it's also really interesting continuing to work on it. What? Oh, there he is. He just vanished for a second there. It's interesting continuing to work on it now that, you know, I have the other video essays on Pokemon that have done well, because it's like, you know, people expect to see it at this point. And, you know, it's a thing that I'm asked the most frequently is, when is it coming out? While I'm, you know, struggling to allocate time to it and barely get through it. I'm just like, I don't know. It's out when it's out. What? Oh, no, I got him. It's out one day. Bam. There we go. And then there's this guy. I'm sure things will be a lot less stressful when I'm through with that project. All right, I think everyone's down. But yeah, and a nice thing about a lot of open world games as well is creativity to approach things however you want. Like Breath of the Wild is a really good example of that, and I just thought about that, where it's like, hey, I came in here and I struggled fighting them all one-on-one, so I sniped them from afar and I came through. You know, it rewards creativity. Don't really see anything like that in Scarlet and Violet, I don't think. You don't realize how much time and energy goes into content for things like that. Yeah, pretty much. Like I think I made like a mention of it on oh yeah, I remember what the context was. I received a comment of somebody asking me when the Scarlet and Violet video essay was on a YouTube comment on someone else's video. I posted a comment on someone else's video of like a Xenoblade mod. And somebody responded to me asking when the Scarlet and Violet video essay was, and it's like, man, I'm really getting comments on other people's videos about this now. So I made a mention about that on Twitter, like, hey, it seems like I'm starting to get comments on other people's videos asking when it is. And lo and behold, I got replies to that tweet in regards to when it would be. Somebody asking me like, oh, I assume you're waiting to post it until after the latest update comes out. And which I also didn't respond to, but I was like, no, it's I guess some people really think that, you know, it's basically done. I'm just waiting for certain things to come out. It's like, no, it's not even halfway through. Let's see here. Summit Scroll 4, found in the cave. The gods have shorn me of luck while searching the desert for ancient objects. I ate a delicious, odd-looking plant. I immediately passed out and awoke in the midst of bandits celebrating my initiation into the despicable ring. After drinking much honey beer, I announced I needed to relieve myself. I made my way to a foul-smelling bog to pee. I discovered this hidden cave nearby. I have hopes of slipping away soon. Clever Gertha is hiding in the desert, waiting for her characteristic patience. Thank a moon I had the wits and to leave my treasure in the flood part of the quarry.
Flooded quarry. I will soon have visited all of Sinai.
This quest really brings you around the entire region. This is insane. What is this quest? Oh man. Anyway, so the way that I've handled that whole project thus far is, you know, Chapter 1 was the everything before release, like the pre-order bonuses, how it relates to the other games, yada yada, stuff like that. That's done and is like 35-ish minutes long. Chapter 2, I decided to make an entire dedicated chapter analyzing how it is as an open world game, just that aspect of it. And that's like 45 minutes long. Let's see here, and it's like the biggest thing that I had to talk about in regards to the game. Chapter 3 gameplay I recently finished up is basically the everything else. Everything else about gameplay that doesn't have to do with it being open world. And I thought, like, hey, because open world is the main thing I wanted to talk about, it'll be shorter, right? Nope, that was over an hour long. It turns out I had a lot more to say about it than I initially thought after I started plugging away at that and recently finished it. Unless I have more things to add now that there's like that new update with the weird Suicune and Ryzian, I guess, maybe. Alright, another objective complete. I recently started Chapter 4 story, and it's probably gonna be about double the length of, you know, previous times I've tackled story, because I'm gonna have like two main sections to the story chapter. One of just analyzing the story as is, as I typically do with these, and two of doing a whole story rewrite. Because the story actually had a lot of cool things going for it, it just didn't handle it all that well in my opinion. Like, I honestly feel like the story of Scarlet and Violet could have been one of, if not the best story in the series, but they just handled it in like a really clunky and weird way. So, I have the script all done and recorded for the story analysis part. I'm still working on wrapping up my story rewrite where, man, it's gonna be weird to say that I will have officially written Pokemon fanfiction, you can say, by the time that's done, because of my story rewrite. But I'm rewriting the story to be more Mystery Dungeon-like, a lot darker, and have a lot more things like explained, and have the stories fit together, like have a recurring theme that's not just treasure. You know, the real treasure was the friends we made along the way, which I guess is the current recurring theme. I have something a bit more important than that. Is the way that it's going. And I have most of it rewritten, but I still have like some finer details to ham out. Look how good this looks! It's amazing! But yeah, I didn't mind the story this time around. Sword and Shield was terrible. Yeah, not super great there. Like, the Scarlet and Violet had some cool things going for it. It just told it in a pretty frustrating way, and it took like some pretty annoying leniencies in my opinion. Probably the biggest issue that I have with it is the professor's motivations. The professor's making a time machine and summoning Pokemon from the past or present, depending on your game version. What's the professor's motivations? The professor's motivation is that she wants all the Pokemon of the past / future for Turo and the Pokemon of the present to be able to all live happily together, merrily, like the When Worlds Collide thing from SpongeBob, where everyone's just happy and great together. It's like, and you call yourself a scientist. You really don't think it'd be better to leave them in their own time period, which they're evolved and adapted for, and their own home. You really think that they're going to be happy being whisked away from their homes? It's like, you what now? In the story analysis that I've done thus far, I identified that there's two much better ways that you can handle the professor's motivations, which were each done by different games that released in 2022. One is you could have taken the stance of like the pursuit of knowledge, like God of War Ragnarok, Odin, the main antagonist of that game, where it's like he just wanted knowledge, he wanted the answers. Not knowing was tearing him apart, so he was, you know, trying to open up this crack that would seemingly have all the answers and all the knowledge no matter what. No matter the cost, even if it meant like the death of anyone else around him. Could have done that stance with Sada / Turo, where it's like, yes, time machine, knowledge, need to know the answer, tearing me apart, not knowing. Or the other stance is regret, with a key example of that being N from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, another 2022 title there, where, you know, both of the professors are implied to be Arven's parents, you know, since Turo's his dad in Violet and Sada his mom in Scarlet, and they're obviously not present in the counter game, so why not just have the other professor died by some preventable means, and now they're hell-bent on making a time machine to undo what's already been done because they're consumed by regret. Two super easy-peasy alternatives that were done by other games in 2022, but instead their motivation was, yep, everyone's gonna be happy and merry together across time.
In fact, I sank several. Only one has the treasure. You'll have to find the right one.
Very well.
Treasure's hidden within one of the jars under the water. There's a lot of little things about the plot that, you know, don't really add up. That are just the way they are so that the plot can happen but don't really make sense. Like the fact that Nimona decides that you're gonna be the one to challenge her. Eventually, you know? You're gonna get strong enough when you presumably have never, you know, done anything Pokemon related before that point. Yep, nobody else in the region, you're gonna be the one to rise to the occasion and challenge her. That makes a whole lot of sense. Or Penny wanting your help, for example, where it's like, there's a lot more trainers that would be a lot better suited to taking down Team Star. Like Nimona's looking for challenge. Nope, you. Or Arven, he wants your help with the Path of Legends thingamabob. Even though he really, really doesn't like Koraidon or Miraidon, whatever, either or, and doesn't want to be around it. And he knows that you're that Pokemon's trainer, and yet you, out of anyone in the academy, is who he chooses to ask for help. It's like, huh? There's so much stuff where it's like, wow, they really just made these things happen despite it not making sense, just so that the plot could happen. Wow. So, I've been trying to find ways in my story rewrite to make them all happen in a lot more reasonable, logical of a way. Aha! Flamingo foot necklace. Something I've been trying to do. Look how good the water looks! It's amazing! So, there was that. Up this way we go. Hi, I have your thingamabob. I went across like the entire region to get this thing for you.
You found it! My flamingo foot! It brings me good fortune.
A flamingo foot. This is your treasure.
Come along with me. You are due a reward.
Yeah, that's fair enough there. Gotta keep things out on the same schedule and all that. Are we gonna chat as we walk, or are we just slowly wandering? Is this whole quest line just a big prank from the developers? Just to, you know, take as much time as possible? We're just slowly walking now, we're not even talking. We're just slowly wandering now. I'm convinced this quest is a prank. Like... Oh, is that what we're going to? The armored camel?
This kind neb has found my lucky talisman. You have been such a disappointment to me. Care about my treasure and worrying only about
Dang,
your
whatever.
bump. Our friendship is
But
over.
yeah, their bottom lines were hurt and their shareholders got hit and stocks fell, etc. They would change their and turn out quality of games. Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
I honestly would have thought that their stock would have taken a hit after. Oh, it's not a cutscene there. Okay, we did it. Considering, you know, it released in such a buggy, unfinished state, I thought they would have had to take a stock hit. Like when Cyberpunk 2077 released. Oh, we unlocked Gertha. You know, didn't CD Projekt's Red stock drop by like half? But Pokemon, you know, it was such a crazy unfinished state that it released in, to the point that Nintendo had to offer an apology for the state that it shipped in, along with offering refunds to you know, anyone who wanted refunds. You know, so a very similar situation as CD Projekt Red, but their stock just fine, still pretty much unchanged. So you know, I guess it really goes to show the power of a brand name there, I guess. So that's something that I figured would be fun to lead the video essay with, is to tell the story of Cyberpunk 2077, the SparkNotes plot summary of it, without saying that Cyberpunk, you know, just telling it in such a way that it draws perfect parallels to the story of Scarlet and Violet, except at the end be like, yep, that was the story of Cyberpunk 2077. It might draw a lot of parallels to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but the difference here is in the consequences. While, you know, Cyberpunk is gonna go down as, you know, an insanely buggy, unfinished game that, you know, while it has made a comeback in more recent years, people still kind of associate it as, you know, this negative stigma kind of thing. Pokemon is still Pokemon, and you can't really topple that. Look at CD Projekt Red, they spent a ton of time making things right. How many patches Pokemon gotten to increase performance? It has been getting, like, a decent bit of patches here and there, but just on things that, you know, on little niche things, not any of the major details. Things that, you know, maybe less than 1% of players are going to be running into, so that they can put out these patches and, you know, announce to everybody, hey, look at all the stuff we're fixing. We're doing good work fixing our game. Isn't that amazing of us? When, you know, it's all these minor things and not performance things. In fact, they're actually making the performance worse with their patches. The most recent patch, one of the very first thing at the top of the patch notes was saying that, hey, we're going to reduce the amount of time the game crashes, like the amount of scenarios that you can find yourself in with the game crashing. But as a consequence, we're decreasing the amount of NPCs of both humans and Pokemon in the world. So the major things that are getting fixed are at the cost of, oh, dang it, you know, making the game work less well than it already was. So, you know, that's cool there. You know, whoops. So that's the way it be. And then, of course, there was the most recent direct, just, the beginning of this week, where they announced the DLC, and they didn't show any gameplay from the DLC, and that's a little bit of a red flag there. They basically had the whole Pokemon Day Presents to talk about their apps, and show, here's some PNGs of art from the DLC, so what do you think? Without showing any gameplay of it, and it's like, oh, well, that's concerning. And I feel like it's because a lot of people have caught on by now that what you see in the trailers for Pokemon games is what you get. So they're probably not gonna, do a gameplay trailer until a decent bit later. And they want to, you know, get people buying already, considering it's already for sale. Now, if you open up the menu in Scarlet and Violet, it'll show in the bottom right, the DLC is coming out. Would you like to pre-purchase it at the eShop? Despite the fact that all they've shown is 2 bits of art for each of the bits of DLC. And that's it. And they're already trying to sell at a markup price as well. Matter of fact. Oh my goodness, why does my game keep freezing? With previous DLCs having been like, what, 30 bucks, I believe? Now it's at 35. And, you know, I know that Nintendo's trying to do their markups for, you know, their games in general, what with Tears of the Kingdom coming up here. From, $60 in the States up to $70, or 80 up to 90 here in Canada. So it makes sense that they want to start, you know, marking up things on stuff that makes sense, you know, get their consumers used to it, to have that become like their new standard price. But while it makes a lot of sense for Tears of the Kingdom to be like their new game markup, Scarlet and Violet DLC being their new DLC markup, like, maybe it would have made a lot of sense before it came out, when they just had things in the planning phase of like, yep, Pokemon's gonna be big, let's have the DLC of that be a markup. But considering the state that it launched in, and people are seeing that, you know, the company's trying to get them to pre-purchase this DLC that they only showed images for, and mention nothing during the direct about whether they're actually trying to fix the game or not. And, you know, oh, hi. And yeah, not a lot of people are super impressed with that. You know, it's funny, a lot of the time in my Pokemon essays, you know, I have to go to great lengths to convince people of my stance, you know? Because a lot of people tuning in are like, what? This is perfect. How could there be anything wrong with it? But then, you know, I go to great efforts to be like, yeah, this is not the best situation here. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that, where are you going? Kind of makes sense then. But I might be at a little bit of an advantage in the Scarlet and Violet essay, because I don't really need to do much in the way of convincing. Like, I was very surprised that, you know, I saw all these red flags before it came out. Like, yeah, this is gonna come out in a crazy unfinished state and not be all that great. Whereas most of the internet was being like, oh, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be awesome, and then it came out, and then most of the internet was like, oh my goodness, what is that? You know, was the case. So, you know, while it is still like pretty untoppled and such, it's still sold insanely well. You know, it's not gonna have too negative of a reputation overall. It is still, you know, the lowest rated Pokemon game on the Switch and one of the lowest rated Pokemon games of all time. And I don't have to do as much convincing. I feel like a lot of people that will end up clicking on the video will outright be on the same page. You know, might well be the case. Man. So, there's that perk at least, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of more fun convincing people, though. Man. Who is trying to shoot me now? Ow. Dang it. My game keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on tonight. Well, that bracer's gonna be lit. I don't think there's much I can do about that. Come on. Yeah, I get set on fire. But yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We always cover every major Nintendo release around here, even if it's something that I don't like all that much. Like last year we covered Splatoon 3, and I don't even like Splatoon, for example. And I have mixed feelings about Breath of the Wild. I'm not a big fan of the story or non-existent music. I like the story in Age of Calamity that I actually got the time to explore. I quite enjoyed that. The gameplay is fantastic in Breath of the Wild, though. And it's the game that I possibly have the most game knowledge about in terms of just like raw glitches and stuff that you can do. Like, one of my favorite things when I see Switch in-store demos is to start Breath of the Wild and clip out of bounds so the next person that plays the demo in the store will find Link out of bounds. So I know how to break Breath of the Wild in two. And, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. Gonna be playing a whole lot of that, hoping to, finish off other things on the GameCube first. Like AC Origins here. Wait, where's the chest at? Huh? Somewhere over there, it seems like. So yeah, probably gonna be dumping a massive ton of time into Tears of the Kingdom. And I really, really hope that they keep all the, so I can use the secret way, right? No? Oh, I can! I wish I knew about that earlier. And I really hope it uses, well, I know it uses the same engine, but I hope they didn't patch the glitches from Breath of the Wild, because that was one of my favorite parts about playing that game on the channel, was just like breaking it in two. Like, it is what's really special about Breath of the Wild is if you play it casually, you'll almost never run into a glitch. It runs really stably. So in a casual playthrough, it'll be like one of those stable games you've ever played. But if you know how to break it in two, you know, you can do things like jump infinitely, use the power of a bomb that you pick up to soar across the entire world. Even do like short soars with bomb impact launches, but the more fun soar is the, I don't think the glitch has a proper name, but something along the lines of bomb smuggle hover thingamabob. You do some weird thing with a bow and then you pick it up and then you fly. It's really funny. You can make a Guardian spaceship and fly across the land on that. That's pretty fun. You can break physics with bullet time, which is always pretty silly. If you really want to zoom fast, you can bullet time bounce, so that's pretty hard. You can clip through almost any wall in the game with just the power of a shield, using either regular shield clipping or extended shield clipping if you need to get through like a 2-layer wide wall, which is most of the walls in the game. That one took me a while to get the hang of, but eventually I got muscle memory of it. And I was recently showing somebody Breath of the Wild glitches just for fun. And I was a little bit worried, like, oh, I'm gonna be rusty at them. Well, I still know how to do it, and I still have the muscle memory down for extended shield clipping. which is a frame perfect trick, so I was really impressed that I was able to still do that, albeit you can, you know, spam the shield menu button to, you know, tap it over and over again until you see the one frame that you need. So, you know, but it sounds cooler to say that it's frame perfect, because it technically is, but you can make it easier by just, you know, constantly pausing by opening the weapon swap menu / shield menu. Also call it frame perfect though, because it technically is.